Welcome to the 131st episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense Anime Podcast. Today, we are back to break down episodes that aired in week 4 of the spring 2020 season. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and the podcast feed if you only want to hear about one or two specific shows, since we spoil literally everything. My name is Bcom, and I found a coin that I gave to an alien who promised me I could turn into a powerful monster. It didn't fucking work out like I planned. I just turned into a cat girl. Yeah. 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 That's Thanks, awesome. Alien guy. I'm joined by Kat and Leo, by the way.
Oh, yeah. You know, when you got there.
Yeah. Okay, I wanted to lead off this podcast with a somber note. I know we're all dealing with hard times, but this particularly hit me hard the other day when I found the news that Zach Birchie, the executive editor of Anime News Network, passed away. He'd been with Anime News Network for about, I guess, over 20 years, which is crazy to think about. And he'd done more than, most people in the United States to make anime popular in the West, and also to make people like me think more critically about anime than I used to. And he's always been a mainstay as the host of the Ancast podcast over the years, which I've listened to religiously for a long time. So I was just really incredibly saddened to hear that he passed away, because I looked up to him. He was a really good writer and a really funny guy, and really passionate about anime. And I would say just recently, his episode reviews of Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which he was writing for the site, were really inspiring to read. They were so good. So I highly recommend giving those a read if you want to know what he was all about, because he kind of gets personal in those write-ups about what anime and the art medium that is animation mean to him, especially in the last episode write-up. So rest in peace, Zach. And now on to nonsense.
Okay.
Such
Leo,
a quiet and solemn little note there. All right.
It's sad.
Yeah. Yes.
I've been good. They're starting to open gyms back up and stuff like that. That's including the rock climbing gym. But that sounds like a nightmare. How are you going to make that one work? So
are they actually making you wear face masks? Because I saw you said that, but I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's even.
Okay, so this is pretty ingenious of them. So obviously, there's a limited capacity that goes for everybody. Face masks, which is going to suck because they're hard to breathe anyways, and you're going to climb on a wall with a fucking face mask. Mm-hmm. That sucks. But I did find one that's better than the ones that have been given us at work at the UPS store. It's a cloth one. It's really nice. They're also going to space the routes on the walls a little bit farther apart, so there'll be less routes, but I'll still be practicing social distancing better. They have hand sanitizer stations before you start to climb, and they say you must use it before you get on the walls. But the most ingenious part that they have done is they found a company that has a chalk that is self-sanitizing.
Oh, wow.
So if people don't know, when we're climbing on the walls, we use chalk on our hands because when we sweat, it's really hard to hold on to the pieces. Mm. So the chalk just keeps it off our hands. So they're providing us with this chalk. So that means every rock piece person is just going to be covered in hand sanitizer, basically. So even if some a-hole doesn't use their chalk or somebody who just would prefer to use their own, those rock climbing pieces are already sanitized. This stuff's on there. And it's kind of a climbing meme that you just, by the time you're done climbing, you have chalk everywhere. If you wear a hat like I do to keep my hair on my face, where I touch the brim to adjust it, it's on there. It's on the side of your pants. I mean, it's everywhere. But that's really cool. So really that place is going to be super sanitized.
I guess. Yeah.
Because basically, I know.
Go ahead.
30 minutes after they've opened for that first day, every piece of equipment there will be sanitized. So.
Damn. Yeah, no, I know regular gyms are opening up too, and my gym is supposed to be open now, but it just seems, I don't know, they have all these precautions, and I'm almost afraid to even go and see how ridiculous it's going to be, Yeah. It's come on.
They're going to be limiting people too, probably, so there'll probably be a freaking line out the door, then Yeah, that I don't know
Yeah.
how like regular workout gyms are going to pull it off. It just sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, I know. I'm almost like, please just don't. Please just don't have any safety things in place because I don't want to see how ridiculous you expect this to get. But I understand the need for safety.
So of course I can't do nonsense without talking about Warzone a little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I just watched a video where somebody dug pretty deep into what's going on with these footsteps in Warzone because sometimes you hear them, sometimes you don't. So what's up with that? One big thing they found out that like he was inside a building and he was looking through a window and he was having his buddy run towards him and they were just seeing when they could actually finally hear the footsteps. So there's like no other gun fired, no other noise. And like he got really close. Like it's way too close for what like the TTK is in the game. Like if you hear somebody at that, you're dead already. There's no point. But he busted out the window and he actually got a little more distance before he could hear him. So they went and did that with doors. And doors, like those, you can't even, if they're closed, you can't even hear somebody until they're basically opening it. And then again, that's just too late. And then they were just kind of going out and about. And like I said, they're just too close by the time you hear them. They're softer sounding than anything else. So like if you're shooting, if you're with teammates who are moving around, if you're moving around, if there's a freaking airstrike coming in, you just cannot hear other people. The footsteps are just too soft, which is why sometimes it feels like it only works like half the time. And that's kind of what's going on with it. So like really what they do need to like, and he stood on an open road and had a guy run to him and he was like 10 meters out before you heard his footsteps. And that's way too close, man. You're dead by the time you even know they're there. So like basically they need to put it out farther. They need to make the footsteps more pronounced. Just stuff like that. So that's what's going on with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're making progress maybe soon. Hopefully. We'll see.
Yeah. Because like I said, there's so many instances where it's just like you cannot hear them at all. So it's like totally pointless to even like have it in the game.
Yeah. That is pointless.
Yeah.
It could just confuse you at that point. Yeah. So
You hear your buddy's footsteps and you get confused. I've been playing solo, and for some reason my footsteps echoed louder, and I thought there was somebody outside. Like they need to do some work, man.
That happens to me in a lot of games where like I hear my own footsteps and get creeped out. I'm just like, oh wait, that's me. Never mind.
Yeah,
that happens way too often.
I could see that, like especially if it's soft rain in the background or something, and all you hear is like boosh, boosh, boosh.
Well,
you're like, oh god, what is that?
Well, they'll have like these like tent flaps and like a plastic tarp over something, and when you walk by them, they make a noise like they're getting whipped in the wind, and it sounds almost exactly like somebody opening their parachute right over you. So you walk past one of those and you go, oh shit, and you start spinning in circles trying to figure out where they're coming from, and then you realize you're standing next to a fucking tarp.
Nice.
Yeah, that's like something I hope they get better at in like this next generation of consoles. And I know they're working on it. It's just like directional audio stuff could be so much improved, even over how it already is. Like in so many games, it would benefit games.
And I played a lot of Realm Royale, and I think they have the best footstep system that's in any battle royale. It is so good. And they're not.
It's so important.
They wasn't as popular as most others Realm Royale, so that sucks. Not Realm Royale.
Yeah, it's too bad. I guess like people didn't like the magic part of it or whatever. I don't know.
It's just abilities.
Yeah. Okay, so I watched a really weird anime. This just came across my radar because a friend mentioned that it existed to me, and we decided to group watch it together. It's called Cipher. It is an anime from 1989. It was an OVA, and it's about 40 minutes long, and it's basically one long music video with a couple of like weird interviews of the characters in between the songs. The music is from like Western artists like Kenny Loggins, Phil Collins, like Footloose is in there for a montage. It's pretty great. I kind of love this anime. The thing that I love about it is that they sent like a crew of like people over to New York City in like the late 80s to take a bunch of just like pictures of the streets and the buildings, like all the sites and stuff, and they just like recreated that in the anime. So the anime is this like weird time capsule of late 80s New York City. which I have a lot of nostalgia for. Not that I was like in New York City a lot in the late 80s because I was like 2. But in the 90s, it looked a lot the same as that anyway. So I remember that pretty well. So I'm just like sitting there like, oh, like noticing like everywhere they're like doing montages at in the city and stuff. I have to say though, this is like one of the weirdest, most stilted animes ever, but it makes it hilarious. I think if you watch this, you will laugh your ass off at the very least. You might just be like sitting there with a question mark on your face a lot of the time as well. Just like, how did this get made? But I also think it's like strangely a beautiful anime because of like all the beautiful artwork they did for New York City. And like cinematography wise, it's like actually pretty cool sometimes. It's also just weird though. So yeah, I would recommend seeking out Cipher if you can find it. I don't know if it's actually streaming anywhere, though. But yeah.
Old anime is so weird. Like, sometimes it's very interesting, but then other times it's just a reminder of how much things have changed.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The whole process is so much different now. Actually, I think Cipher is on YouTube. I think you can find it at, like,
wow.
Cipher the video. If you search that on YouTube, it'll come up. Yeah, so definitely check that out. I talked enough about that. I'll leave the other anime I was going to talk about for later. I've been watching a lot of anime lately, so I'll just like cover one per podcast, I guess.
Oh, I watched this other one you want to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I could talk about it really quick because I actually don't have much to say about it, and I got another anime to talk about for next week. I have it on DVD,
actually.
So I finally watched Another, which is one of those like, okay, whenever anybody asks, hey, what are the good, horror anime that exist? Another always gets mentioned in that like short list of what people consider to actually be horror anime. I will say I enjoyed Another as a comedy, not as a horror. It is like a very much Final Destination, the anime.
Were you able to predict who it was before it was over?
Oh, no, I don't think I was. I think I was kind of surprised at the end. And a little bit annoyed, actually.
Okay.
The ending is, man, there's so many parts of that anime that I was just like, my suspension of disbelief is not working on this. Like, there's a part where there is a huge raging fire in a room, and there's literally no smoke escaping from this room. Like, these people are like right on the other side of the door.
That's every anime, man.
I'm just like, like they open the door. It's the most ridiculous raging fire ever.
Do you have a fear of umbrellas and stairs now?
And dolls. Yeah. Oh my god, that scene. I think it's episode 3. The umbrella on the stairs scene.
Yeah.
It is. I felt that. I definitely felt
did
that. Too. Oh my god.
I just sat here and remembered it, and I got chills. I was like, God.
It's like a fun little mystery. Like, I don't think it's definitely not like a great anime, but it is fun to watch. Just don't expect something that's going to like hold up like critically to like questioning. It
is entertaining. Yes.
I've had this on my list forever, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, you would have fun watching it. I guarantee. Like, you would be screaming at it a couple times, but you would have fun with that for sure.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I've been watching a lot more anime this season than most too, just because I have more time. Not any older anime, mostly just more seasonal. Like, I've got to catch up with, Art and Kakushiko and
Kakushigoto. I actually caught up on both of those in the last 2 days as well. I'm like completely caught up on those. Yeah.
I'm caught up with Listeners, Tower of God. And
Tower of God as
why
well.
I'm the 8th Sun one. I don't know why.
I actually did consider watching the 8th Sun too, but it's just I never got around to it.
There is a scene in the 8th Sun that I'm going to save for when we get around to week 6. Because then we talk about what we've been covering. That just like blew my mind. And Kat would have been screaming at the TV, and Bcom probably just would have been laughing hysterically.
Oh boy,
it is something, man.
Dude, Kakushigoto is very good. I really like how they have like sort of like this mystery about like what's going on in the future when the daughter is a little bit older and she's trying to piece together things that happened with her dad.
Ooh, my audio picked up that thunder.
Oh, really? yeah, every time like the dad is having a conversation with the daughter, I'm just like, oh, this is so cute. It's
The
just
dark
really nice.
undertones, though, are so, like, I'm just like, what the fuck is going to happen to this dude?
See, that's the one other anime I want to get caught up on that I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so weird. It's like, but what is going on? I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I've mostly just been staying inside, being boring and socially distant. Boo. My neighborhood, though, there's like a weird cult of old people who have started congregating in like the front yard area.
Oh, wow.
There's like a circle permanently like erected of like lawn chairs, like 10 in a circle.
Oh, God.
And they all just sit there and like gossip about other people who live in the complex. And I'm just like, oh God, one day they're going to get together and be like, that annoying girl and, you know, apartment, whatever, let's go get her. And like, it's going to become like one of those cults with pitchforks or whatever.
Cat's front door breaks down. It's a bunch of old people.
They're like, we're tired of listening to your dumb music at 2 a.m. Fuck you. Like, set fire to my whole place.
We've seen you talking into a microphone every week. We think you're talking about us. You're recording things about us. We know.
Oh, Inception. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a little weird to me. It's like, it's almost like they got together and were like, people want us to socially distance. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to start sitting here for hours in a circle. Like, fuck all of that. We're old. We're going to die anyway.
Like they have anything better to do.
I guess.
Do any of them wear a mask when they're doing this?
No.
Oh,
they just sit in a circle. And I honestly, like, whatever people want to do is whatever, but it is amusing to me.
Oh, boy.
Cat's at her window in her own lawn chair just watching them.
I know. Got to keep an eye on them, make sure they're not going to attack.
It's like a reverse Children of the Corn.
Yes. The elders of the corn.
Oh, man. You should go over there and start running like a bingo game or something. Like,
Oh, I guess.
make some money off of this.
Yes.
There you go.
Kind of like in Better Call Saul.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Give them some life insurance policies, you know. All the insurance.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about anime.
Yes, let's talk about anime. Let's talk about Wave Listen to Me.
Cool.
Yes. So, okay. Minare. I'm going to say Minare. That's how I want to say her name.
Sure.
It's kind of difficult.
That's correct. That's fine.
She wakes up and Mizuho is getting ready for work and asks her to take care of the turtles as she's leaving. The adorable turtles. But honestly, did you guys see that huge instruction sheet that she did? Like, it would have just been easier for her to fucking feed the turtles. Like, that writing that out must have taken her so goddamn long. I was like, holy shit, girl. I don't know. But I guess if you want to train your new, like, servant to, you know, do things, they have to do it once.
And to her credit, like, Minare did it also. Like, she got it right, apparently. So
Yeah. So, but yeah, I really liked the comment that she made where she's like, turtles eat food from the same water they shit in. It's exactly like politics.
Yeah. Like, specifically, I think they specifically said Japanese politics. Like, yeah, they were dabbing on Japan. Yeah,
politics is politics.
Applies. Yes.
Yeah, I would say that that's pretty accurate for the American political system.
Sure.
So anyway, she comments to her restaurant friend that she needs sponsors for her show, and it's cute that he tries to donate. He's like, "Well, I'm gonna help you." So she calls this, you know, the director guy, and he's like, "Well, really though, it would take like this astronomical figure. I think if you round it out, it ends up being like $17,000, and for a month."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Per month.
Oh, I want to go back a little bit. So
$17,000.
Mizuho left Minare breakfast, and she eats it, and she's like, "It's so good. I would marry her, and I would make love to her every night." That was pretty funny.
Well, it was funny, but it's also like, but no, Minare, you're not going to become a lesbian and start fucking this girl.
She kind of wants to, though.
Bcom's like, no, but I want her to.
Yeah, no,
be quiet,
like,
cat.
You're right, though. They presented that in a way where it's like, oh, it's this cute fantasy, but like, no, that's not going to actually happen. Like, yeah.
Yeah, this is not that sort of anime. I don't know. In this scene where she's talking on the phone with him and he's telling her about the $17,000 a month to produce this show, I did notice some of the animation was lacking. I don't know if you guys noticed that as well.
Yeah, at times the show definitely doesn't look great. I'll admit that for sure.
Yeah, there was like a distance shot where they were, just frames of them, and I was like, oh man, that is
Yeah,
rough.
but it's not really an action show, so it's not that important.
I wasn't upset. I still like the show a lot. I think it even has its own unique style with the circles and the eyes and everything. I just, for me to notice that it's bad, it usually has to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Nakahara implies that maybe this radio show is porn related, and so Minare shouldn't be gullible and fall into risky business. He also talks about falling for her, so I guess that's definitive now. He's kind of, I don't know what to think of him, because he's like, oh, I'm so in love with you, but he's very casual about it too. I'm just like, okay.
I think he's trying to act cool about it, but he is totally in love with her, I think.
Yeah. And then Nakahara gets a call from his boss who got in a car wreck, and he has to take over the business while the boss is in the hospital. And that also means that Minare gets her job back temporarily, which is so shitty to me. If you're going to fire someone, just fucking fire them. Don't be like, oh, but I got in a car wreck, so you can have your job back for a couple months. Fuck off.
Well, I don't think
fired me.
Yeah.
Yoshi Takarada didn't make that decision. I think it was Nakahara. He basically asked Minare for help.
Yeah, I guess since Nakahara was just basically running things at that point, he had the opportunity to just bring Minare back.
Well, I mean,
basically
who else
without
would know the
Takarada's say.
restaurant well enough? I'm just saying that it's a shitty position for Minare to be in. Is all I'm saying.
I agree.
And apparently her replacement got run over too. I'm just like, aw. And Nakahara, the whole time that they're doing this shift, he's kind of weird and creepy to her, in a sexual harassment type of way.
Well, he's has a little fantasy going on in his head. It's pretty funny.
Oh, it's like we're husband and wife. If you know damn well, Leo, if a male colleague of yours came up to you while you were working with him and was like, ooh, it's like we're married and we're doing all of this work together, you'd be like, leave me the fuck alone.
Did you say a male colleague?
Yes. Of course, because you're not interested in it. So, but yeah, so he needs to let that go. I'm not saying it's the worst thing he could have done, period. People do stuff, but he needs to learn, maybe not appropriate. Also, but yeah, so they're really busy because they only have 2 people running a restaurant that usually 3 people run it. And then there's this weird tidbit on the side where he's like, yeah, the guy who helped us during the festival had some weird epiphany and went to Tibet to study medicine.
I really liked that. I don't know why. It just really cracked me up.
I was like, is it something that Minare did? What?
I don't know if it relates to anything. It's just one of those random non sequitur jokes that I really just enjoy.
It was all right, we need to get rid of this guy real quick. Just make something up.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks it's a random joke, and part of me thinks they're going to bring it back in some bizarre way later. But either way, it's a funny little tidbit,
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Nakahara just keeps being weird, and he tells her, well, it's not like you're pursuing anything serious, whatever. You're just kind of going along in life. And he keeps sort of being all flirty and weird with her. So she gets really offended, and she slaps him. And then we get a view in his mind of what he thinks is going on. And it's just her being like, I'm slapping you because I can't admit you're right. And it's no. Oh, I was so pissed off during that scene. I was like, you're an asshole and you don't even understand. I don't know. And then he talks about how he really likes her because of all of her qualities and stuff, and tells her about this, remember that time that, this kid ate spicy curry and you were explaining to him the 3 worst selling items in the store. And I was like, I have no idea what this story is about, but it's bizarre. Did you guys get what they're trying to say?
I mean, it was cute. It was just wait, what was she saying? I don't know how she was explaining to the kid, but the kid was having a bad time, and so she's like telling them like about the 3 worst items in the store or on the menu, and like making it out to be like a really funny thing.
Yeah.
Oh no, to compare them to legendary Pokemon. That's what. And then the kid started laughing, and she was having a great time. And then like the restaurant owner, whoever came over, and was like, "This is very inappropriate."
I think the issue with me being confused is really about Funimation and the way that they're subbing it. Once again, they're not making it very easy to. Because I watched that over 5 times and I was like, I can't tell what's going on with this story, but it's clearly supposed to be some kind of cute story.
Yeah.
So if you can't figure it out 5 times watching it, there's probably a dubbing thing that needs to be fixed with that. Once again, Funimation needs to step up their game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Basically, the Minare is like, she does this really weird thing where she tells Nakahara that if he gets his own restaurant by the time she turns 30, she'll work there. And she basically is like, I'll stay alone until then. Like, she's almost saying she won't date for 4 years to see if he can get his own restaurant. That's a huge imposition. I don't even know what she was thinking.
Kind of said it to get him to let up for a while, just to buy her some time.
Maybe she like half is like, well, if it works out, it works out, and if not, then I'll just keep trying to find people. I don't know.
I don't think she ever said that she was not going to date for though.
No, she said I'll wait alone.
Yeah, but she's lying though. She's fucking lying. Like I'm with Leo. She's just buying
lying.
Time.
Okay, but like considering what happens later in the episode, she could be lying, or she could be serious and be like starting to kind of be like, well, maybe I do like him, and we don't really know.
I think it's just one of those promises that you make to get somebody off of your back, so they have like a goal that they could strive for and not annoy you anymore.
Yep, exactly.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
That's how I feel about it.
Anyway, the sister of the guy who ran over her boss and the other employee come to apologize, and her name is Machi, and she offers to work there until they both recover without pay, and this really helps them out because they don't have a third person and they need a third person.
Yeah, they're working their asses off with just 2 people.
Yes. So I don't know. They all go home. Machi has... I didn't quite get this part. She like is looking for the key. She reaches into her pocket and then she's like, oh, I have the key. And she's concerned, I guess because her roommate then doesn't have the key or something. I don't know. And her roommate is with this guy who obviously wants to make a move on her.
Motorcycle guy.
Yes, and he tries to kiss her and she runs.
Which totally does not seem like Mizuho's type.
Yes, exactly. And then there's a flash to when Nakahara asks where to drop Machi off. She says she doesn't want to go home tonight. There's something going on there.
Yeah, that's just a mystery for now.
Yeah. You find out at the hospital from the boss that apparently the 2 lost their parents when they were young, and the boss plans only to bill them for treatment expenses. And at that point, I was suspicious of her a little bit because, like, how does he know that they lost their parents when they're young? The only way that he would know is if they told him. So that tells me that they went to the hospital and made this poor man feel really sorry for them so that he won't sue them for running over him with him in a car. I'm not saying that the story isn't true, but she definitely kind of looked out for herself in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also,
I can see that.
Like everything in this story, if you look at it from one point of view, she could be just a nice person wanting to do a nice thing who's in an unfortunate circumstance. But if you look at it from a more sinister view, really benefits Michiru. Or Machi, sorry.
Yeah.
It really benefits her.
Yeah,
and I'll explain what I mean later.
Like the way that she moves in, like, and starts to take over more and more over the course of the episode. Like, yeah, it seems pretty sinister.
So like later on in the episode, she's been living in the restaurant while she works there the whole time, so she's really homeless. and she's made this guy feel bad so that he'll not press charges. And then she takes over his restaurant and gets this job and is able to have a place to live. So to me, it could totally be that this is totally her trying to be genuine, but I think there's really something sinister here. That's just me. Or could be, anyway.
I was definitely getting that vibe from her, for sure.
But yeah, so, it makes the boss feel bad. He's not going to press charges. And then I also thought it was interesting, Machi asked a lot of questions about the radio station they play at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yep.
So something might be going on there. And then throughout this episode, just like Bcom said, she starts to take on even more and more work. Like she starts to work and cook instead of just be the waitress. And she gets closer and closer to Nakahara and like wants to eat dinner with him all the time and all of this stuff.
She even changes the menu at one point, right? Like
yeah,
it gets like an item added.
Tapioca. It's like tapioca balls or something.
Yeah, like fried tapioca. Something.
Yeah, fried.
Yeah, and the last straw is really like she updates the blog.
Oh yeah. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. And the whole time her roommate keeps reminding her not to forget about the radio show, not to get too wrapped up in Voyager and forget about that. And I think it's good that she reminded her of that, honestly.
Yeah.
One day... Go ahead.
You can... Oh, okay. I was just going to say that I feel like from like a meta storytelling point of view, like them introducing this like sort of rival girl at the restaurant who Chuya is now going to focus on because he drives her home every night. They're working closely together. It frees Minare up to just care more about the radio show and not care about the restaurant as much. So I think that's important.
But when Nakahara offers her to stay with them, he finds out she's been sleeping in the employee area or whatever. Like, Minare, like, it looks like she gets a little bit of jealousy, which is like the exact same thing that happens in Sing when we get to that damn show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's I think it just even feels ingenuous. Like you've been hitting on me this whole time, and then you switch so easily. Like it's so shallow to switch that fast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's a little interesting. But yeah, basically, I mean, even the way it happens, Minare goes back to the restaurant. She realizes she left a cake that she had in the fridge for her friend's birthday party. And she overhears this whole thing where Nakahara is like, well, I know you don't have anywhere to stay and you've been staying in the restaurant kitchen. Like, come stay with me. And it's obviously romantic and it really upsets her. And then as she's like trying to deal with this in her head, she gets called by the radio producer and he's like, listen, got you a show. It's at 3:30 today. And like, it's going to be called Wave Listen to Me. And you got to come in and rehearse for it.
Yeah.
So it almost immediately sort of takes her away from this terrible thing happening in her personal life. And she gets to sort of, focus on that,
work,
which is good. Which is good for her.
It should be, yeah. Oh, I forgot, like in I think the very opening scene of the episode when she wakes up in Mizuho's apartment and she doesn't know like where she is or like what time it is, they make a Walking Dead reference. Like we're in scene 1 of Walking Dead or like episode 1 of Walking Dead, Rick Grimes like wakes up in bed, and so they referenced that whole thing. I thought that was really funny. It was cute that they did that. But yeah, it's interesting how this anime references like a lot of Western things. More so, they reference a lot of things in Japan too, but also like a lot of like Western media so far. It feels like one of the more like aware anime I've watched recently of like what's going on around the world, like media wise as well. So,
yep, for sure. I did see that. It's a little bit more of a modern anime, and it's always kind of fun to cover those.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
All right. Should we move on to Sing Yesterday?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Get that damn thing out of the way.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Episode 4. So Ro is taking like an art class and can't help but like compare himself to the other students who don't seem to be struggling as much as him. And then like at break, he goes to like the balcony and he sees Haru making a delivery. And it takes him a second because then he finally remembers that he met her the other day. She gave him the coffee or whatever.
And the one thing I want to know is just that Rikuo is teaching the art class.
No, he's not. That's
he is.
The teacher.
No, it was Rikuo.
It's not Rikuo.
It looks exactly like him then.
The teacher looks very similar.
God,
and then you
really?
see,
Are you sure there's different people?
And this is the teacher he interacts with throughout the rest of the episode.
Okay, this makes me bring up a point that I noticed, and I was actually watching this with a friend, and they noticed as well. A lot of the male leads, or like the male characters in this anime, looks too alike. Like a lot of the characters are very similar in appearent, except for one or two things.
I think that's why Bcom made that mistake, because when I saw that in your notes, I really paid attention to it, and I was like, "That's not Rikuo. That is that
I'm gonna
teacher."
watch through the episode and like I'll try to tell the difference between them while I watch.
Yeah, because I had to pause the show like 4 times, and we had to debate and try and look up and figure out which person was who. And you shouldn't have to do it that much in a show.
Oh, I know.
That means that
I had
the
to write
character
the
design.
synopsis.
Yeah, that means the character design is not good enough. It's not distinctive enough.
Yeah, they need to be more unique. Okay, so Ro returns home to find Shinako making dinner for him because her parents sent her like too many vegetables or something like that. I've heard that excuse a lot in anime. And Ro is also taking the art classes because in 2nd grade he won like a drawing competition, and from then on was always known as the kid who can draw. But he was always in his sickly brother's shadow, and the only time he ever got recognized or paid attention to by other people is when he would draw. So that's kind of where he's addicted to it. And then this whole time while they're talking, all the way up to the part of washing the dishes, Shinako keeps making comparisons on how Ro is like his deceased brother. And then he's just like fed up with this and tells her what's up. And he's like, you need to get over him, and that he basically likes her. And since they have known each other for like so long, she says, I can only like you as a little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, man, that whole scene, like, I was getting frustrated with her because, like, I understand that Ro is one of the only people she can talk with about his older brother dying because he knew his older brother really well and he was around for all of this stuff. But at the same time, like, well, it's good that Ro makes his feelings, like, sort of clear to her because she's, like, really hurting him by doing all this and, like, constantly bringing it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Haru delivers some drinks to the art teachers, and this is kind of the second time you get to see that teacher. And that's when I was like, okay, that is definitely not Rikuo in there in that first part. And she learns that like one of them, this is the guy that he used to go to the same school as the cafe owner, Kyoko. But it turns out he confessed to her at like their graduation, and she just flat out turned him down. It's just kind of a funny little scene. And then Ro also shows up to submit his form for the courses he is going to take for the summer classes. And then Ro stops by the convenience store that Rikuo works at. So there you go. Rikuo is at the convenience store. That was the teacher at the teacher's lounge. Since this seems to be like, 10 minutes later. And like the two just kind of bicker for a while, and then that's when like Haru shows up, and then she then recognizes Ro herself the other day, and she like begs Rikuo to take her home, and like Ro's like, oh, so this is your backup, and he's going to tell Shinako everything. And then Haru's like, oh, is this your rival? And they're both like, no. Kinoshita, who has had to listen to this shit in like the back, finally gets like fed up and comes up front, and he's like grabs Rikuo. He's like, come back here, you need to do some fucking work, I'm tired here. Ro ends up walking Haru home, and he learns about her like dropping out from high school, and he tells her Shinako doesn't like him, and she tells him to hang in there like for her sake. She's like, as long as maybe if he wins Shinako over, then she can have Rikuo for himself. And then like Haru's like, okay, we're close to my house, I can make it here, and like runs off, and then like her crow Kensuke lands on her arm, and Ro's like, man, she's weird.
Yeah, that's an interesting little conversation there.
Yeah. So Ro has a couple more classes, and he comes home one night to find that his dad and Shinako have gone back to like his hometown for a while. And like he finds a note from Shinako and like some curry in the fridge he can warm up. And while eating, he remembers a time when Shinako told him she would go to the festival with him, but instead she just kept taking care of his brother instead. So that was kind of saddish. And then at the house, Ro's dad and Shinako, the dad brings out a box of used old belongings and tells Shinako it's about time they moved on, but should keep something to remember him by. She ends up choosing an eraser, which is fucking cliche as hell for anime romances, with the word idiot written on it that you had hit her on the head with when she forgot it at one day. And then the rounded up row also decides he isn't giving up because she rejected him the one time, so he's still going to try.
I felt like it's weird that he's going after his brother's girlfriend.
Old girlfriend, yeah.
Yeah, especially by trying to be like his brother. That's even another level of
He's not
fucked up and
trying to
weird.
be like his brother.
Well, but like his brother did the whole art thing too. Like
He
to
sucked.
me,
He sucked. And
it
Rose's
just
actually
seems-
really good.
it just seems kind of weird and like maybe don't. I don't know. It just seems a little unhealthy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was looking at the episode. Like, apparently, the way to tell the teacher and Rikuo apart.
Oh, that's
is
why
like,
you got a little quiet there.
Oh, yeah, I was like,
I
I'm so
thought we had
confused.
lost you for a minute.
No, I was here, but like the fucking art teacher has like a beard, and Rikuo does not have a beard. That is like literally the only difference I can see between their character designs.
Yes. See? This is the problem. They have these character designs too similarly. They just really copy pasted a lot of them, I think, and then
They
made
just took
slight
Rikuo,
adjustments.
thickened them up a little bit and put a beard on him. That's all they did.
Yes, because they didn't want to draw another character design, which I understand. Budgets are budgets, but you got to make it so people can see the difference in your characters.
Because I had
You
like
can't-
changed my mind on Rikuo a little bit. I was like, oh, he's teaching art classes, like so he's like doing something like worthwhile. But no, apparently he's not.
But then I was like, when did we find out Rikuo was an artist then, you know? Like,
Well, we
what?
knew he was interested in photography, right, when he graduated from college. But I thought, oh, maybe he could teach like drawing as well. So that seemed to fit together for me. And then like when Haru came to deliver food to the art teacher, I was like, oh, she's kind of bantering him like she banters with Rikuo. So this is definitely Rikuo. That is so confusing. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm kind of blown away by how confused I was. That's insane. Yeah, I thought the last thing I wanted to say was that I thought the episode did a good job of showing you how haunted Shinako is by like Rose brother's death. Like, like when the dad brings like that box out of the belongings and like she looks over him and like all these things remind her. And then like I liked that scene when she looks into the backyard and sees like him before he died calling for her, and she like goes outside and she envisions herself as like high school version of herself, but then like realizes it's not her anymore. That's a really good way of just demonstrating like how haunted you can be by somebody passing away, who you were in love with. So that was all really good stuff. But man, I thought that was fucking Rikuo. I can't get over that. Holy shit. That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought about writing in a note like we do sometimes in bold, but I was like, I'll save it for the podcast. This is pretty good. And it brought up a good point. Some of these fucking characters you can barely tell apart.
Yeah, like I can tell like Haru, I can tell the girls apart very easily.
Yeah,
And, like,
but then like if
yeah.
Ro didn't have that fucking stupid safety pin in his ear, I could see mistaking him for Rikuo also.
so like, he looks quite a bit younger, but like yeah, you're not totally off base there. Like you could easily get them mixed up. I think they have different color eyes too, but like, God. Yeah, and also, yeah, the art teacher has different color eyes from Rikuo. Okay, I guess I should have known. Oh, well. Jeez, that was ridiculous.
Well, at least in the next episode, they introduce a new guy and they just give him one of those douche hats, so you know who he is.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. We ready to talk about a Villainess?
Yes, I love this show more and more each episode.
It's pretty fun. And they've finally gotten older now. So yeah, My Next Life is a Villainess, episode 4. I enrolled in the Magic Academy. So, yeah, Katarina's parents see her off, and she's leaving for the Magic Academy. When she gets there, it's time to finally focus on this new heroine, like the main character of Fortune Lover, the game, Maria Campbell. Unlike most magic users, she is a commoner rather than a noble, and wields extremely rare light magic. I guess all the magic in the world is like earth, wind, fire, water, and then light is the last one, which is very rare. So Katarina has one of those like inner monologues inside her head about like how things have changed a little bit over the past 7 years and how they differ from the game. Just as a summary, like Giordo likes her rather than wanting nothing to do with her like he did in the game. And he won't break off their engagement, even though her like head wound that she got because of him has healed. Keith isn't a playboy like he was because he locked himself away in the closet in the game, but he still is very well liked by girls because he looks amazing. Alan's musical talent has like blossomed because of like the way she encouraged him, and his like inferiority complex is completely gone. It's been resolved. And the other funny thing is Mary Hunt isn't attracted to him.
Nope.
She's attracted to Katarina, kind of like Sophia is as well. And yeah, Nickel is like apparently basically the same, but his devilish smile is like even more devilish apparently. So that's about it. So at the entrance ceremony, we meet the student council president, this guy named Sirius Dieke. Dieke? I don't know. I really just want to call him Sirius Dyke.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
It's close to how his name is spelled. I also want to call him Sirius Black, but I won't call him Sirius Black. He has red hair anyway. He doesn't look like Sirius Black. He dazzles the girls in the crowd. Giordo invites Katarina back to his room. And funnily, like, Keith tags along because he won't leave Katarina alone with anybody else. And Katarina panics when Giordo explains that he met the main heroine of the game, Maria, as she was trying to climb a tree because she was lost and wanted to get like a good vantage point. And having seen Katarina climb trees for like a million years now, he wasn't surprised at this like he would have been in the game. And Katarina, though, is still worried that, like, oh, this signals the start of the game, so I gotta be on my shit. So she gets even more worried when Keith is like, oh, I met Maria, too. And she freaks out. And she's like, did you hit on her? And, like, this version of Keith doesn't even know what that means. Like, he blushes. He's like, you're crazy. Yeah, like, when she tells him what it means, like, talking to girls, like, or like she tells him hitting on girls means talking them into doing immoral things. He blushes like crazy. And so what else happens? So Katarina finds Keith like picked up her handkerchief to return it to her, like Maria's handkerchief, and asks like, did you fall in love with her? And he's really startled, and that makes her think that she hit the nail on the head when she couldn't be more wrong. And she's like starts shaking him violently and saying she promises not to get in the way of him and his new love and all this stuff. And then Keith basically just like faints because he's overheating because he doesn't understand anything that's going on. It's very cute. Finally, Katarina runs into Maria herself, and their eyes meet as they pass each other in the hallway. A very meaningful, long look between them. It's very dramatic. They don't speak, though, and they next see each other in class, where Katarina is like so obsessed with Maria that she's like ignoring her professor. He like wizards her like textbook opens, like pay attention. So afterwards, Katarina is walking with Sophia and Mary when she starts worrying a bit about how her earth magic is so weak compared to other people. And Nickel shows up and tells her, hey, don't worry about it. Everybody's magic is different. We learn about everybody's magic here. Like Sophia and Nicole use wind magic. Mary and Alan use water magic. We already knew that Keith uses earth magic. And Katarina remembers that Giordo has like never used magic in front of her, but supposedly uses fire magic. Though he killed her with a sword in the game, she kind of like cringes about. Didn't even use the fire magic for that. So Katarina holds another one of her stupid strategy meetings in her head about how to avoid losing to Maria. She realizes that, like, hey, Mary and Sophia are both, like, really beautiful and smart. They have a great chance of winning against Maria. Unlike me, who is dumb and powerless.
She has no idea she's wooed everybody.
Yeah, she's, like, so oblivious to, like, how she's got everybody crawling in the palm of her hand.
It's funny because she's just like, I need to learn more about vegetables because that will save me. And meanwhile, everyone's like, but we love you.
Yeah. They come see her like cucumber and eggplant farm that she made out of like the school flower garden, and they're like, oh, that's so like you. It's ridiculous. Also, at this school, high test scores decide who joins the student council. So like the top three are the same as they were in the game, I guess. They're Giordo, Maria, and Alan. And Katarina placed 80th, which is very average. And in the game, Alan noticed Maria scoring higher than him and became like obsessed with beating her, kind of like how he had that inferiority complex that Katarina basically took care of in this version. And so when Katarina asks him about being third, he's like, I don't really care. Winning is just to prove that you're superior, and I don't care about that. I accept that people are good at different things. And so it's a much healthier way to look at life. And so a teacher has asked Alan to put on a recital at the school, piano recital, and he asked Katarina if she would come see it if he was going to say yes. And she's like, oh yeah, I'd be really happy. And he's like, all right, then I will do it. So he's only doing it for her, obviously.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very cute. Katarina has started spending a lot of time around the student council office as well. Like, I guess presumably to make sure things aren't getting too far out of control with like Maria and all these people. But it's just funny that she's like forcing her way into the student council, basically. She winds up talking with Maria for the first time, and Maria like offers her some like cookies and pastries that were like a gift to the council. And this is where Katarina slips up and asks Maria, well, why don't you bring the sweets that you make to the council meetings? And Maria's like, how did you know that I make sweets? And she like panics for a minute because obviously it's knowledge from the game. And she's like, I think the school cook told me about it or something. And Maria's like, oh yeah, I do like borrow the kitchen at school to cook sometimes. And so Katarina gives her like all this confidence on like cooking her sweets and all this stuff. And how much she wants to try them. And so we get this next scene where Maria does cook like a bunch of muffins for the student council, and then she gets bullied by some stupid people, some other students who are like, these homemade muffins aren't good enough for the student council. What are you thinking? And Katarina, of course, like steps in and saves Maria and tells these girls to screw off. And like the funny thing is, like in the game, Katarina was supposed to be the one who bullied Maria here, but it's like changed because she's not bullying her. They're friends. It's
so weird because they do this again in the next episode.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to continue
weird.
to be like that, I assume, like just flipping things on their head, you know?
There's only so many different things you can do with the storyline, I suppose.
I also like that Katarina like ate every single muffin before she even realized like what was happening.
She has a problem with food. She's always like, and now I'm going to eat everything, and then I'm going to be sick in the bathroom. And I'm just like, why? Stop. Like,
yeah, not good. Very not good food habit.
Does Katarina have an eating disorder?
She's binging, I guess. Yeah, I don't know
really
if she's
likes
purging.
sweets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys liked about this episode, or you're noticing about the plot going forward? Or I thought it was pretty straightforward.
I don't know. It's like a feel-good anime. Like you watch it and you're just happy. You're just like, oh, yay! And it's a nice escape from bullshit happening in the world. But it's not substantive. It's just like fun and nice. That's how I feel about it right now.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to any like real conflicts yet, or like real like sort of, I don't know, quote unquote dangerous situations for Katarina. It's all just been like in her head so far. So I'm curious like if they'll up the stakes a little bit as people start bumping heads around her. I don't know.
Well, in
we'll see.
a not feel good anime, Gleipnir.
Not exactly. Well, I mean, like, it feels real good to get inside of Shuichi, you know.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sure a lot of people would feel that way about it.
Feels real sticky.
Episode 4. Erina rips off Shuichi's head to reveal like a stunned Claire, and then Erina suddenly comes to, and she's like horrified at what she's done to Shuichi, and then like Claire comes around herself and like charges at Erina with the gun drawn, and then they just do the opening credits real quick. After that's over, Erina just like effortlessly disarms and immobilizes Claire with ease. Claire asks why she killed their parents, and Erina says they were bad people. Their dad was apparently a legislator that was doing bad shit behind the scenes, and her mother had an affair with a younger employee at her work.
But like, are those good reasons to kill your parents? Like,
well, and then she also says that Claire used to say she would kill them herself.
Yeah.
So I did it for the both of us since I'm stronger now.
That's still a little crazy. Like, that's just saying, well, everyone in this world's a little bad, so it's fine if they get murdered. It's like, no, it's still probably a bad thing to kill your parents.
Probably.
Yeah.
Especially while your sister watches. It's probably a bad thing.
Aaron asks Claire if she still has that coin, and she lies and says she doesn't, so she gives her another one and tells her to go to the abandoned motel by the highway and to make a good use of her wish. And then, like, Claire picks up the gun. She's about ready to shoot herself, but then Shuichi's severed head starts talking. He's like, no, don't shoot yourself.
No, I'm alive.
And, like, the hammer is slowly being drawn back, and she's, like, starting to put pressure on the trigger. So she was going to blow her brains out. So they hit up this motel and find a man sitting on a mattress and reading. She asks if he can fix Shuichi, and he's like, kind of looks at him, and he's like, yeah, I can fix him. And then he asks for the coin because he needs the coin to fix him. He puts it in the vending machine, and out pops a drink, and he gives it to Claire. And he's like, okay, have Shuichi hold his head on, and, you know, have him drink this. And she's like, how's that work? And he's like, nano machines, blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't really understand. Like advanced alien technology, basically, is what it boiled down to.
Yeah.
It's bizarre to me how he explains it, because he's just like, and I'm very happy. Woo! I'm an alien, a friendly alien. I'm just like, this is weird.
So Claire gets out of Shuichi because she's like starting to overheat inside, and of course it's all very seductive.
Sexualized. Oh, yes.
This can't believe how beautiful your body is, little Claire. Is like the fucking alien guy says something like that.
Yeah, so the boy also reveals that he's an alien that's taken on the form of a human. Even so, he is turned on by Claire's body and asks if he can like touch her breasts, so she like knees him in the balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed her kneeing him in the balls, to be clear.
He then uses a strand of hair he snatched from her when she kneed him in the balls, and he swallows it, and he then transforms into a naked Claire.
What was cool about that is that his version of naked Claire did not have her freckles on the face, so you could tell them apart.
Sure. Well, you said something like this may have meaning, and I'm just going to tell you you're thinking too far into it.
Probably. Yeah.
He goes on about how you could change your life and a bunch of like just other completely random nonsense that is not important to the show at all. He also reveals that he is the one that changed Shuichi, though the form he took was one that Shuichi himself like desired, like subconsciously.
Which is weird to me. Like, I wonder what specifically his desire was to become that.
He got that form because...
I always want to be a mascot.
No, he got that form because he wanted others that could make up for his weaknesses, and that kind of translates to them being inside of him, which is why he got the mascot, because then that's why he's so much stronger when Claire's inside him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then, like, yeah, he just wanted to borrow the power of others to make up for his weaknesses, and that's just how his form. That's how he just formed. But
I was like unclear about, because like it was unclear in this episode whether Elena was the one who made his form the way it was because she wanted to be able to get inside of him, or if he wanted other people to get inside of him. Like, I thought that was kind of still ambiguous at this point. I don't know.
That doesn't get explained yet.
Yeah, it does not.
I had to be careful with my wording.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Shuichi finally gets to transform back, and like Claire is clearly relieved and hugs him. The alien explains that he and his brethren were on a trip, but since physical bodies are cumbersome on long trips, they turned their minds into data and stored them on the coins, like their USB drives, basically. But something went wrong with the ship and it crashed and all the coins were scattered, and he would like them to join the other gatherers in searching for the coins. Also, if they get 100 coins, they can do something amazing, like you would see in an anime or manga, which he is like completely hooked on right now. Like, he's saying like you could destroy like whole cities and shit like that.
Like a superhero or supervillain, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. The two walk back, and Claire talks about how meeting Shuichi brought meaning back to her life, which is kind of important because she was going to kill herself. Mm-hmm. They go back to the school, and after Shuichi bumps into somebody, they like try to make a big deal out of it. And Shuichi's like kind of like, all right, I'm done taking crap. So like he stands up for himself. When the guy tries to grab him, he grabs his wrist and fucking almost breaks it.
Yeah.
And the girls have also noticed that he seems to be acting different lately, and they're like, he's more like a adult now. I was like, oh, he has seen people killed now. So, and he met an alien, and he transforms into a mascot. So yeah, he's going through a lot right now.
It's like those scenes in like the Spider-Man movies where like Tobey Maguire or like Miles Morales Spider-Man like come back and they are like buff, and like the girls were like, "Oh wow, he looks so much hotter now." What
Yeah,
happened?
he also ditches his glasses and he just tells everybody switch to contacts.
Yeah.
But then on the rooftop, he goes to he meets up with Mifune, who wants to give him back his notebook that she borrowed earlier, and like he asks her, "What would you do if this is the last day everybody would be alive, and what would happen if somebody became powerful enough to destroy the planet?" And she says she would basically be worried about everybody and would try to stop the bad person. And Shinichi's like, "Thank you. That's what I needed to hear." And he's like, kind of fortify his resolve now. And then the next day, Claire and Shuichi head to the mountains where the spaceship crashed to try to find some coins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Shuichi was talking about himself on the rooftop there, like, right? Like, if there was, like, somebody who didn't care about anybody else, they could just destroy the whole planet. And he just needed, like, this cute, innocent girl to say, like, that would suck because my parents would die. It's like he needed somebody to tell him, like, stop this. Because Claire's not going to tell him. Like, Claire is ready to just wreck shit at the drop of a hat. So I think he needs, what's that girl's name? Nana Mifune.
Oh.
Yeah. To, like, talk some sense into him in that moment. Just basically ground him in normalcy for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like one line in this episode that stood out to me was like when that stupid thing with the hair at the vending machine with the alien guy was happening, where he's like, "Oh, can I have one of your hairs from down there?" to Claire, and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
God.
And then Claire's like, "They haven't started growing yet." And then she goes to Shuichi.
It was a little disturbing. Yeah, I was like, all right, that's a weird thing to sexualize. Like,
yeah, well, then she says to Shuichi immediately, like, "That's a lie." It's just funny. It reminded me of that line last episode about like, "Oh, I'm a virgin, by the way." Like every once in a while, she just says like one of these completely out of the blue, like totally unnecessary, like sexual things, which I kind of laugh at, but I'm also like, "Oh, this is like trashy writing at the same time." I just thought I would mention it.
I enjoy the perviness of the anime overall, but there are times where I get annoyed with it. Like that was a time where I was like, "Come on!" But mostly it's fun. Mostly I'm like, "Woohoo! Ooh, she's all wet and stuff." That's fine.
Oh, the other thing that made me laugh too was when all of his classmates are noticing that Shuichi looks different, and somehow they don't mention the massive fucking scar on his neck where his head was severed, which is like clearly visible. Like none of them see that apparently.
They're like, "Oh, I wonder what it." I'm like, "Yeah, no, wow, okay."
You know what? That is just there, and it never comes up or is a plot point or nothing. It's just I don't know.
They just forgot about it. I guess.
Basically, that gets worse the longer this goes on.
All right. Anything else on this episode?
Nope. Let's take a break.
Nope.
All right.
Yes,
we will be right
we'll
back. See ya.
The Trash Pandas bring you this nugget from another trash can. What happens when Brains and Bullets discuss episode 2 of One Punch Man?
Pretty much gene splicing heads. They will
Yep.
they will splice genes. They have a cyborg gorilla. They have a frog that walks on two legs and communicates at long range. Like they got, you think it? They splice
The Lion King.
Yeah, they have the lion. They have a f***ing lion, beast king, and
Simba.
yeah, he's f***ing Simba. I don't mean he's f***ing Simba. I mean he's f***ing Simba.
We at Trash Pandas Watch Anime dig through the trash so you don't have to. You can find the Trash Pandas Watch Anime podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter where you'll get live updates from what we do.
Hey dude, you into anime, manga, and all that radical stuff?
Oh yeah, man, it's tubular.
Then you should totally check out the...
This transmission has been hacked. If you want discussions, debate, reviews, and all in between, you must listen to the Anime Radicals Network at www.animeradicals.com. There's timely reviews, revolutions, mecha, and much more. Find it on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and all podcast catchers. The Anime Radicals Network.
The revolution will be simulcast.
All right, we're back, and we've got Fruits Basket second season to talk about.
Yes. Okay.
Good job
So,
on shortening this, Cat.
no, I think it's a short. It's not an episode that has a ton going on. It's just the one issue. So to me,
that was my take on it too. It's like this was kind of a slow episode with like not that much happening. Like,
Look,
yeah, it's just it's just this one thing.
you guys have told me it gotten better. And I'm sitting here and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are they talking about?
It did get better last season.
It got way better at the end of last season, and
Like-
then they've started slowly in the second season.
Yes, I don't know why they do this. They like save all the exciting stuff to the very end. And yes, it's exciting at the end to have things, but you're not going to get people to continue to watch if you do all this slow bullshit at the beginning, because people are going to get tired of it. I don't know why they always do this.
Yeah, and to be fair, this episode feels like the first episode of like a 2-episode arc, but still, like this first episode of that arc was kind of slow. So,
Yeah, I don't. I think it must be that they've decided Fruits Basket is big enough that they can be slow and people will stay watching. I don't know. So this episode, the sheep guy Haru visits his girlfriend named Rin in the hospital, and she is also
The
a
hottest
Zodiac
character in
animal.
the show.
Yes,
she's pretty cute.
she
But
says.
she's not feeling so great, though.
Yeah, she says she's tired of him and breaks up with him, and then she like throws the flowers he got her and breaks the vase they're in.
Do we know
It
how
was
she got
shitty.
injured?
No, they haven't talked
No.
about it yet.
Okay. I didn't
So-
know.
Something happened, and I'm sure it has to do with the Soma family, but they aren't saying what happened to her and why she's in the hospital.
Shrouded in mystery. Yes.
Yes, I have a feeling it's similar to all the bullshit that happened to Yuki, and all of that. Just saying. The class. Then it cuts to the scene of the class discussing their school trip. They're going to go to Nara and Kyoto. Very standard, as
Yeah.
as
Super
everyone
standard.
says. Very standard. Very standard. I'm like, okay. Momiji came in to tell them Haru went black and is going on a rampage, but forgot when he showed up, like what he was going to tell them, and just spent a whole bunch of time talking about the school trip. And then was like, oh, fuck, by the way.
By the way, there's a crisis we should probably go handle.
Yeah. And I was just like, all right. And he's destroyed a fuck ton of things in that classroom. And I thought, I'm like, come on, how do you break a window like that by yourself? That's pretty...
You throw the desk through it.
Well, but okay, have you ever tried to purposely break a window?
No.
No, but
It's
I've seen one
not-
easily broken on accident.
It's not easily broken. Like, I think you'd be surprised, especially like a industrial window, like for a school. I think you'd be surprised how resilient they are.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, I don't know about that.
This is adapted from the manga, right? The manga is
Yeah.
fairly old, right?
Yeah.
I
So it
would
may
say
have been like the
Windows
before
weren't as strong.
industrial is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that.
Windows weren't as strong. I love it.
Well, no, that is
Also,
true.
he is an ox. Like, literally, he's an ox.
He is as strong as an ox, is what you're saying.
I like how this is so boring. We start talking about Windows.
Well, you got to talk about something
I mean,
in this
you know.
episode. Yeah.
And then they make a lot of comments like, "Oh, is Haru the darkest of the dark today?" And I'm just like, this is weird and comical the way they're phrasing this.
Oh, God, yeah.
Anyway, Haru points out that Kyo is showing off in front of Toru, and like when Kyo is trying to like yell at him for going black and making all this damage, they almost start fighting. The teacher dunks water on both of them to stop it. Momiji points out that he's been really moody and sad lately, and maybe something happened. And Haru goes to leave, and Yuki goes after Haru, who went to go clean the classroom that he had just wrecked. But the girls in his class already cleaned it, except the giant broken window. Yuki rants about how he doesn't express his emotions. And honestly, like, first of all, I was kind of like, why are you ranting about yourself when you went to help Haru? But I guess there is a point in, like, trying to be, vulnerable with someone so they're vulnerable with you.
Yeah, I think that works sometimes.
Yeah. Haru is like, hey, you're not selfish because someone selfish wouldn't have come after me. But I'm just sort of like, well, but then he talked about himself the whole time. So I don't know. I guess it's all, balanced, whatever. And then, so basically, Haru got dumped by Rin, and they kept it a secret when they were dating, so at least there's not any public backlash. But the way that she did it was like so harsh that it's just really, he's not able to get over it. He still really cares about her. He's not really sure why she suddenly changed. Anyway, Haru finally does leave. His mom comes to pick him up. They show some like stuff where Kyo is practicing in dojo class and keeps thinking about the bracelet and about Toru seeing his true form.
Yeah, I liked that this like sort of montage as like Toru's at home like preparing dinner by herself, and like it cuts to all three of the guys from the house just like showing how they are trying hard like to change. Like even Shigure like actually emails his editor for once, that poor editor. Like instead of her having to like chase him down all over town. And like Yuki, like yeah, like you're about to say, like Yuki going to the Soma estate is really impressive because he's really facing his fears and reaching out to people.
Yeah, no, Yuki decides that he wants to go visit him later after they find out at school basically that Haru is being suspended for a while and he won't be at school. And Yuki's like, no, don't worry, it probably won't be too long. He didn't hurt anyone, but he still wants to talk to him before he goes back to school.
He destroyed the shit out of school property.
Yeah. So he does go to the Soma estate, even though he even avoided like the New Year's festival. He goes for his friend. He has some PTSD on his way there, and almost doesn't make it. And one of the like elders makes a big deal about him being there and is like, "Oh, we're so happy you're here." And I'm just like, "Fuck off! Like, leave him alone."
Yeah, we don't really know who that woman is. Like, she's just this elderly woman who's like, "Oh, Yuki, where have you been?" Yeah, Akito's
just
been
some
so upset.
Rando person from the family, I think. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah.
Like
anyway,
this
when
show.
he gets...
The show doesn't matter.
Nah, fuck you, Leo. It does matter. Fruits Basket is a classic. Anyway, Haru's been gaming for hours. When he gets to Haru's house, he says that like he's not upset about it anymore. And he's not giving up on Rin. He's going to try to see if they can get back together. Yuki's like, well, do your best. And obviously you don't need me cheering you up. And as he's leaving, Haru encourages Yuki to call Toru by her first name and sort of be more intimate with her. And Yuki's embarrassed that, Haru's figured out that he likes Toru. And then there's just, at the end, some quick shots of other characters doing stuff. And then a new character, like, posing. And it was just kind of a weird way to end the episode, very casually.
Yeah, it felt like in the middle of things, basically. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, just like not the greatest episode of Fruits Basket, but
Yeah.
it's setting up things, and like certain people are starting to come around. Like the most impressive thing to me was just like Yuki going back to the Soma estate by himself
After
and,
all
like,
of that, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was
that
a
was
needed
impressive.
episode. It's weirdly paced. But I think
Yeah,
a lot
for
of
sure.
stuff in Fruits Basket is weirdly paced. It's a slow manga. They're trying to adapt it as fairly as possible. I get it.
Also, they didn't try very hard to make that video game on Soma's screen look very good. Like, it looked like some jank version of like Dragon Quest or something. I don't know. It was funny. I was like, what is that?
Very true.
Oh, man. It was funny.
Okay, now a show where there is never a dull moment.
Are you kidding?
It's a show that is a video game.
The only thing I remember from this entire episode of Princess Connect is that there's a llama girl in it now. That's all I remember. Everything else.
You attached on that so fucking hard.
I was just like, what is happening? Why
We're
is this
talking about
person a llama?
Princess Connect free dive, everybody.
I don't even, the rest of it is like blacked out PTSD style. I don't know. I just remember the llama.
Wait, Kat, do you remember the bird girl from Shield Hero, like Philo is her name? Like the little chocobo girl? That's who this reminds me of as well. Like, it's like same character almost, like same thing.
Okay, we haven't got to her yet, but so let's start. They get to their new guild home, and after opening the door, they see that's like it needs a lot of work. It's pretty much trashed, and then they just do like a little cleaning montage. Carol does some dusting. Bakarina and Yuki carry out some like beat up furniture, and much to Bcom's delight, Kokoro does some laundry by stepping in it, like squashing grapes.
Splish, splish, splish.
Yeah.
The cute stuff they do with Kokoro is very cute. Like they're doing a good job with that.
Yeah, and you need that GIF now or something. What was that?
Yeah, like her like splashing in the laundry was just very funny to me.
Okay. Well, I was just like whatever, but this made me laugh when Bakarina flips when they realize they don't have a table to eat at.
Yeah.
So she chops down a tree and starts to make her own. I was like, God damn.
Dude, how talented is this fucking girl? She literally chops down a tree and then makes a goddamn table out of it within like a few hours. It's ridiculous.
She's got some carpentry skills, man.
Yeah.
Kokoro also leaves to go to the market and get ingredients. And like while away, Carol starts cleaning a bathroom after she checks out for bugs, snakes, and ghosts. And like Carol just has this weird bug phobia, which is a constant joke, and it's pretty funny. In town, Kokoro meets the head of the orphanage named Saren. That's the name of the girl. Blech. She also used to be the captain of like some knights or something like that. I don't know if it's even important yet. But she's currently running like a bazaar to help with the orphanage. And when her maid named Suzume comes flying by with an out of control donkey with a hilarious face. But they get it under control and Saren tells her to take Kokoro and her things back to the guild house. Go away, Chio. Trying to podcast.
And by the way, those two girls that they introduced, like, because this is a Psy Games game, they are ridiculous voice talent. So, like, Saren is Yui Horie, who was, by the way, also voiced Wiz in Konosuba, so it's like kind of like a reunion. And Suzume is Aoi Yuki, like, who is like a fucking huge voice actor. So, yeah.
What was that, Kat?
I said I didn't know that they were that famous of voice actors, but that does make sense. This show is so well animated. I mean, I can't see why they wouldn't get good voice talent for it.
Yeah.
And Psy Games has a lot of money. So
yes.
I'm sure they're voicing the characters in the game as well. So like,
they have all that Rage of Bahamut money.
Oh yeah.
And I will sadly say I did give them a lot of my money. Back in the day when I played the mobile game. It's been many years. They quickly get like a little lost in the woods and they're kind of scared. And then like Suzume, it just goes straight to her head and she loses it and runs away and like spooks the donkey who runs off. But she trips very quickly and like they hear some rustling in the bushes. So they're like, maybe it's the donkey. So Kokoro makes a lasso and ropes whatever it is. And like she's choking a fucking llama named Lima, which is funny, just funny on itself. This Lima character, she really cares about her looks and being fashionable and all kinds of stuff. But apparently she spits whenever she gets excited, which is kind of funny because it's like Kokoro and the other girl like, ugh. But she's like, all right, I'll help you guys pull your cart because she like works on some farm nearby. In a way that would give people at OSHA a heart attack, Carol stacks chairs so that she can have Yuki clean some windows high up while she holds them. But then like a centipede like crawls up her leg and she's like, ah! And the chairs come falling down and Yuki hits the floor and falls unconscious. But while unconscious, he meets Ames, that weird godlike machina character.
Who I also found out is voiced by Rie Takahashi, who played Megumin in Konosuba. So another Konosuba one coming back.
I'm all for it, man. But she gets all cryptic on him. Like the people in this world believe they know the truth, but they don't. The girls he meet will help him solve this mystery. They'll have their own past missions. And Carol's is apparently maybe a little more important than the other girls for some reason. It's just cryptic nonsense, just stuff that makes you ask more questions.
Also, there's like in that scene before where Carol was like up on the chairs before she fell off, she was saying something to Yuki, and Yuki just goes to her, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you smart? I just fucking died. I fucking love Yuki, man. I can't tell you how much I love his stupid dialogue.
Hated him at first, but I really like him now. I see what they're going for with him, and I think it's really cool. So Yuki wakes back up and Bakarina has finished the table and they try to take him aside, but it won't fit. I have done my fair share of moving and you would be surprised at what you can get through any door. I can also clearly see how they can get it through. It's very simple. You put it on side, you angle it a little bit so a leg can go through, straighten it back out, move to the other leg, and then you angle it again and pull it the rest of the way in.
I think they did a pretty decent job. I think they did angle it at one point in that montage, and it just like couldn't do it.
They did it. They didn't do it the way that I described it.
Work.
Yeah, that would work. Like a table is something very easily to get inside, and like they just failed at it miserably.
It seemed like there should be a way, but they could not figure it out. Yeah.
So their new friend Lima and the other two are making their way through the forest when they get attacked by bandits. the bandits decide they're going to capture Rima and sell her to a circus, and they're like all crawling over her, trying to like pull her down, but she's like just too strong, and she's like, and they're like, it's her fur, we can't get a hold of. And then one of them's like, calls her a donkey. She's like, just stop moving around, you stinking donkey. And then she's like, flips. Oh, what wasn't it back in Future? Nobody calls me chicken. Basically, that's this. And like she flips and like destroys them with a blast that would make Megumin proud. And like the fight worked up her appetite, so she decides to eat this apple she has. The apple turns out to be a metamore apple, which allows her to turn into a llama girl. I hear Kat sighing now, like, God damn.
Like, so now we're allowed to sexualize her. Yay!
I had already been comparing her to Philo from Shield Hero.
I thought you were about to say, I was already sexualizing her.
No, I was like, oh, she reminds me of Philo, and then like she turned into a human girl, and I'm like, okay, she really is Philo. Like, yeah.
So Kokoro makes it back, and Carol wants her to praise her for her clean job. And they also have like beef stew for dinner that night. And this is where I learned that Bcom has never chopped wood in his entire life, because he thinks that bit was a comedy bit.
Yeah, where like he chops halfway into the log and then raises the entire log with his axe and brings it down to chop through the rest of it. I thought that was a comedy bit. I guess I've never chopped wood, so
I've never chopped wood.
Like, no, physics-wise, that makes sense, because like it does get stuck if you don't go all the way through.
Yeah,
I guess it would get lodged in there. So yeah, what else are you gonna do?
The animated log's a little bit bigger than the log you would use.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, because you can always like move your one hand up the shaft and pick it up like really close to the blade.
Oh yeah.
So it's not
move it up the shaft. Yeah.
And like so like this killed me. So like I sat here for like 3 days trying to break this down and explain to Bcom why you do this. I've never thought about this hard before. I just have done it. And one of the big reasons is hitting an axe on the exact same spot can be kind of hard. And number two, sometimes it takes really good effort to get the axe wedged back out. So you're easier just lifting it up. And then since it's already right there in that split of the wood, when you slam it back down, it's an easy break.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually, then. You're right.
Yeah. So like when I saw that, like you said you lost your shit, I'm like, why?
Well, he also seemed like kind of out of control when he was doing it because he's such a fucking derp. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, that makes sense though. Like that is like a total technique that makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, I saw my dad do it. I saw my uncles do it. I did it. I never questioned it or thought hard about it.
But like one time there has to be like that log that like just comes free and the log falls on your head.
Well, you don't hold it over your fucking head.
Well, he did. That's why I was laughing.
You don't go that fucking high. You pull it up and away from you, but so if it falls off,
it could still fall off, I guess, and whack you in the face.
The worst it could do is hit your foot.
Oh, well, I don't know. I could guess if it's like weirdly angled enough, it could hit you in the face, but it's still not going to hurt you that bad.
If you got that weird of an angle, you're pulling it out and going for a different chop.
Okay.
I thought
chopping master Leo
blows my mind that I have to explain how chopping wood works to somebody.
Okay,
wood chopping Leo to the rescue.
I've never in my life needed to chop wood for anything. We have indoor heating where I live.
I grew up with a wood stove. I have stacked so much goddamn wood.
Here comes Leo, wood extraordinaire. He's like, I grew up with a wood stove, bitches. You don't know me.
With a gas stove.
I lived out in the country, man.
I'm
sorry, I lived out in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I did too, but we did have electric stove. But like, I've been camping and had to cut wood, so I kind of get what you mean. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I've always wanted to cut wood. It seems like kind of fun.
It just makes you feel really manly. It's a manly thing to do.
Yeah,
I'm a lumberjack. Only just one other short thing. Lima and Suzume join back up with Saren, so like they're kind of their own little guild now too. It seems.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
Oh, there was one funny line when the table wouldn't fit. Bakarina just says like, "Oh my" in English.
It
which I
is
thought was
really
fun.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cute. Oh man, this show was just full of cute moments. It didn't like drive the plot forward that much, except for like we got a table and our house is clean now. Like that's about it. But and we met Sarah and Suzume.
They kind of this episode they just kind of got their base set up. You know, it's where they operate from. So cool.
All right, we have a massive episode of Kaguya. Love is War season 2.
Damn it.
This was a fucking fantastic episode. Episode 4, I have so much shit to talk about, so I should just jump into this. So Kaguya,
You really had to write this much for this? Oh
Yeah,
my
he
Yes,
God.
I
said so
actually
fucking
did.
much.
There are so many things going
Okay, we're
on.
going to have to limit you a little bit, Bcom. Okay.
Couldn't you just have contacted them for the script and just copied and pasted it?
I should have, but
It might have been shorter.
I wrote more than what is in the script, unfortunately. So Kaguya, after telling Miyuki she wants him back as the president, she's like sequestered herself in her bedroom for 3 days, face down in a fucking pillow, too embarrassed to like see anyone. And Hayasaka gets frustrated with her lack of progress.
Yeah,
as
I
we
love
would
that she's
know.
kind of disgusted by it.
And Kaguya's like, "Oh yeah, do you think you could do any better?" And Hayasaka's like, "I probably could." And annoyed, Kaguya's like, "Okay, then go for it." So Hayasaka dresses up as a schoolgirl and finds Miyuki at a bookstore where he recognizes her as Smithy A. Harsaka, which is funny. And she like skillfully appeals to like Miyuki's desire to teach people by asking him to like show her what laptop she should buy from this like magazine she picks up. And Kaguya is getting like really frustrated because she's like, "Oh, she's so good," with the ease that she's just manipulating Miyuki to do what she wants. And so Kaguya is sure, like, oh, Miyuki will see through her lies, though, about, like, her family and, like, how she has a part-time job as a maid and all this stuff, but Hayasaka's telling, like, these big lies that are very convincing if you don't, like, know what's going on. He's just totally oblivious. And he even respects the fact that she's going to buy her own laptop instead of mooching off of her parents, because, you know, he's very frugal, of course, as we know. So Hayasaka continues acting all cutesy. She's like, "Oh, I love these cute animal videos." And Kaguya's like, "She watches videos of things being crushed by hydraulic presses. That's what she watches."
I watched those too.
Those videos are kind of great.
Some of them are fun, like the ones where they crush soda cans and stuff. Those can be interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's totally fun. Yeah. Like, crush anything with those. It's just very satisfying
I
to
also
see a
watched
thing
the ones
just
where
crushed.
they put it in like this metal type grinder thing. It's really cool.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that.
blends. So yeah, she decides to pick a computer based on its look. She's like, "Oh, I'll just pick the cutest looking one." And Kaguya's like, "You literally make PCs at home, Hayasaka." And it's so funny. So Hayasaka then like pretends to fall asleep from the exhaustion of her 10-hour work days. And she, like, dedicates to this fucking bit. Because she stays there pretending to be asleep for 3 hours while he's sitting next to her. Like, pretending that,
Constantly
like,
taking peeks at him. Yeah.
yeah, constantly peeking, like, when should I wake up? When should I wake up? I don't know why she decided to wait 3 fucking hours. That's a long time. But she's just very dedicated. And he's like, "I can't leave her here. She'd be defenseless." And he respects her work ethic. So Hayasaka then kicks into full gear and asks Miyuki if he wouldn't mind going out with her, and tries to make it seem like really convenient for him. Like, we could just be like 90% friends and like 10% dating. And Kaguya is like, "I need to intervene. She's killing me here. Like, I need to stop this." When Miyuki finally just says, no, there's somebody else I like. Sorry. And rejects Hayasaka.
It's a really weird thing to set up to see what he's going to do. Like, I guess it does get what she wanted happening to happen.
Yes.
Like him thinking about how he likes her. But it's just so involved and strange to set all of that up. I don't know.
It is. And I think part of it is to set up like a rivalry, like, because Hayasaka, like, in the next scene, like, she gets all teary-eyed when she meets with Kaguya afterward, and Kaguya is like trying to like act pompous like she won, and Hayasaka's like, "If I had a month, like, he would be mine." Like, Yeah, like she's definitely like taking this as like an insult to her pride now, and she's gonna keep going at it. It seems like so. Kaguya might have made a big mistake, is what I think. So yeah, the start of the second part is kind of cute because Chika's trying to convince Miyuki to let her deliver his campaign speech for the student council re-election. Because she's like very charismatic, she can appeal to the old bloods, as they call them, who are the people who've been at Shuchen Academy like forever and like don't really accept Miyuki, who's like a newcomer, basically. And so the real fun thing about this scene is it's like a total homage to Bakemonogatari episode 1 and also other parts of Bakemonogatari cinematography. Like there's the ahoge little hair that pops up from Miyuki's head, just like Araragi. There's when they close their eyes in extreme close-up, there's a sound effect that plays. It's not the camera shutter like in Bakemonogatari, it's a different sound effect, but it's still like the same thing. And then like the most obvious thing is Chika, who is playing with her pen in the foreground, which is what Araragi is doing when he's talking to Hanakawa in episode 1 of Bakemonogatari throughout that whole scene. So it was just really fun. Like, I watched through all of Monogatari like a year ago, and to see this, I was just like, oh, this is very cute that they're just aping this scene like so perfectly. And yeah, like Chika gets up from the desk and drops a whole bunch of school supplies out of her like little bag, which is to make her comparison to Hitagi's and Jogahara. So yeah. So Miyuki turns down Chika and she says like, I'm not voting for you then. And Miyuki goes to Shinomiya's classroom where Hayasaka, who's like looking different from before, like her other student form basically, offers to help him. And it seems like she's still gunning for him, basically. And when he asks for Shinomiya, she like opens the door and they zoom in on her face. I have screenshots of this below for you guys, by the way. And she totally looks like Tanya from Tanya the Evil, which was like another cool reference that they made. Just
Do you
like
think
the way
that's a
her
reference
eyes
to
are
Tanya
drawn.
the Evil? Okay.
Yeah. And like, and her mouth, like her big mouth, like I thought that was total Tanya the Evil reference for sure.
Okay, I guess I could see it if I think about it like that. I didn't notice it at the time, but
Yeah. It's not as clear as the Bakemonogatari reference, like, but yeah, I think it's there. And so Kaguya slinks over and asks Miyuki, like, what's this about? With like whispering to him. And he says, like, oh, I want to confirm our future plans, which that sets off a fucking wildfire of speculation among like all of the girls that like, oh my god, the two most famous students like might actually be dating each other. And they go like ask Kashiwagi what she thinks, and she's like, I don't think they're dating, at least not yet. And yeah, then there's like this fucking news broadcast, and they're like, everybody, there's gonna be a confession behind the school. It's Kaguya and Miyuki. And so like everybody meets outside, and there's like all these students watching and all this stuff.
And the
it was
thing
very
is,
dramatic.
What makes
Yeah.
all this so much better is all the other students looking on and Chika. Fuck
Yeah.
Kaguya and Miyuki.
I love, like, the
when
eyes.
it's just those
Just
two
the
on the
eyes
screen,
everywhere.
the show is so bad for me.
Wait, what'd you say, Kat, as well?
I love the eyes, like the eyes everywhere, like in all the little windows and then behind
Yeah.
the
Peeking
bushes.
out from the bushes and stuff, yeah.
Everyone's just like, we must know what happens, what will be said. Like,
And Chika still thinks this is about, like, the student council, so she, like, yells out, you chose Kaguya over me, can't you at least tell her? Which everybody takes the wrong way, and they're like, oh, Miyuki was supposed to go out with Chika? Oh, no. I love how, like, the camera's, like, swooping around this scene in 3D. It's so overdramatic. There's, like, this music theme that plays. It sounds, like, a little bit like The Godfather, which was weird. Like, the theme from The Godfather. Just making it extra dramatic, I guess. And Miyuki, with all that pressure, he, like, wonders for a second if he really needs to keep up this facade. Like, he's wanted to confess to her this entire time. And he thinks maybe this is the time to stop running away. And he leans in and he whispers, I wanted to ask you to give my campaign speech.
oh
And
my
so-
god.
I really like Kaguya's response to this, actually, where she's like, dear me, what am I going to do with you? My response to all your requests, be it the campaign speech or anything else, is yes, with pleasure. And so they both run away. The students like stampede. And then the third part of the episode begins. The election arc begins. So we see a prediction poll. Miyuki's got like 58% of the votes. But there's another girl who we haven't been introduced to yet. We've just only seen in glimpses. Miko Ino. She has 30%, and she's a first year. And also, like, I noticed on the voting poll, like, more first years are voting for her than are voting for Miyuki. So that's telling. If she can win over, like, the seniors, she has a good chance. And so Miyuki's like, yeah, you shouldn't get overconfident before a campaign or anything. But internally, he's like, holy shit, I have this thing wrapped up. I don't even need a campaign. Because he's like 28 points ahead. That's a huge margin. So Yu, though, recognizes Miko because he knows her. She's famous among the first years. And he decides to introduce Miyuki to show him, like, why she's famous. We find out she's at the top of her class, kind of like Miyuki is. Her father is a court of appeals judge, and she's on the disciplinary committee. And at first, Miyuki's kind of prideful about how much taller he is than this girl. This girl's like 4'10". Actually, she's like a hair shy of 4'10" when I put it in like a calculator.
That's so unrealistic, even for Japanese people. Japanese people are not 4'10". All right.
I mean, some Japanese people are 4'10".
Yeah, some people can
some
be cat.
American people are 4'10", but it's just a little unrealistic. I don't know. Sometimes the whole "I'm so short" thing is fetishized a little bit.
Yeah, she's a super shorty for sure.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like they start talking and he starts like shrinking in front of her when she's like, oh, I've always been at the top of my class, and he thinks about how he had to like struggle to take the #1 place, so he's not really as smart as she is, I guess. And so she has all these ideals though, and she wants to give students more of a say in the policies of the student council, and she has this idea of who she wants for her vice president as well, and that would be Chika. And you and Miyuki are like, that's ridiculous. Why would you want Chika to be the vice president? And even this the girl's friend, like Miko's friend Osaragi with the mirror glasses, is like, oh, she's actually very qualified. She plays piano. She speaks 5 languages. She has average grades. And Chika's like, oh,
didn't she like win a piano competition when she was younger or something like that?
Yeah, and I think Miko had seen that and like looked up to her ever since that. So yeah. And so Chika's like pissed at the guys for like downplaying her talent, and like she goes over to Miko's side like immediately. He's like, yeah, we're gonna beat you assholes. And so Miyuki and Yu like walk away defeated, and Miyuki's like starting to get worried, and then Yu's like, look at this flyer she was handing out though. And on the flyer, her campaign pledges are like, we're going to have this school ordinance that all boys have to wear crew cuts and all girls have to wear their hair in pigtails or braids.
Okay. So basically, she's not a threat. Is what you're
Pigtails
saying.
or braids? I can get behind this.
I don't know.
Also, the girls need to wear skirts that are at least 10 centimeters below the knee to be proper. And they also are like, oh, we're banning cell phones and we're inspecting bags weekly. So like, Yu's like, you don't have to worry about her at all. And so the episode ends with like Chika looking at this flyer and being like, what? I'm not betraying my friends. She like rips it up. And then Kaguya's like, where was everybody this entire skit? Because she's been alone the entire time. Like, man, I loved this episode all the way through. Like, I loved all like the cinematic references that they were making. I just thought like everything they were doing was like so well thought out, and just really funny, like consistently all the way through. Is definitely one of my favorite episodes of Kaguya so far.
It definitely was a full episode. I found it ridiculous how quickly Chico was just like, well, I'll just change sides and be with these people. I was like, really? Like, she did think it through later, but I was just like, come
move,
on.
if you ask me.
She's just such a shallow character. Like, she has no depth as a person. All she is like the surface level of surface. That's what she is. You have to admit.
Yeah, I mean, I will say she is smarter than Yuki from Princess Connect Retie.
Yes,
she has more going on than he does.
That is true. I'm not saying I don't like her. I'm just saying that she has no depth.
Yeah, that's fair. Like they randomly try to give her some depth from time to time. Like in the episodes where she's like training Miyuki in the first season and like volleyball and stuff like that, and like they do stuff like that occasionally with her, but you're right, most of the time she's just there for like comic relief, which she's really good at. But
Yeah.
yeah. So Leo, you're still just like you're not enjoying the romantic aspects of like the main two at all.
No.
You're just fed up with them.
No, I can't stand them.
Yeah,
They need
I
to
can
make
understand
progress. This is, I will say, as a Japanese anime, romances in Japan have this problem in general. In Korea, too, where it's just like, and it will never actually happen, but we'll just put all this romantic tension in there. And it's a little infuriating after a while.
Yeah, I just get really frustrated with those two especially when it's those two on screen. When we throw in some of the other characters, I think it helps a lot. Like, I love all these side characters, but god damn, the two main characters are awful. Just
They keep getting so close now, though. Like both of them they keep getting so close.
like
I wonder
I
if
and
it's going to
Chica
break into something.
fucking kill me. I think you is even better this season.
You is definitely better this season so far. I'm liking him more for sure. What do you think of the new girl besides her being kind of crazy about discipline? Do you like her so far or what?
I don't think I've seen enough of her to like her. What about you, Leo?
I have seen the next episode, and she does get a lot more airtime. And yeah, I think she's pretty funny. Yeah. The next episode, they actually have a scene where I actually liked Kaguya a little bit in it because of Miko.
Okay, that's cool. I look forward to that. I haven't seen that episode yet, so I'm excited.
Yeah, because we were supposed to record earlier, then Kat's like, I'm going to do it later. So I worked on the next.
Okay, but
the
you
next
also,
podcast almost the whole time.
You also were like, oh, I don't think I can do it. Don't even lie. You even messaged first.
I was done on Friday.
Now you see the inner
I was
inner
done
fights that go on.
yesterday, Kat.
Yeah, we've had a hell of a time scheduling podcasts lately, just because of crazy work schedules for various.
Everyone's trying to work. Yeah, everyone's trying to like get past the time that we're not. No one's been at work.
I almost swear between mine and Kat's works, they are collaborating, trying to stop us from recording. It is awful.
Oh, I know, because like you'll go into work and they'll be like, "Oh, and you have to do doubles for 4 days," and you're like, "I'm sorry."
And then we go to record the other day, and you're like, "I'm still at work."
I know.
I'm like, "God damn it!"
And I'm just sitting there like, I have to print this before I go. Like, it's miserable.
This has been a very interesting recording season for sure.
Yeah.
All right, next show.
One more anime to talk about, BNA. Episode 4, Dolphin Daydream.
Can we, before we start, isn't it pretty common knowledge even for elementary school kids that know how dolphins and whales breathe?
I feel like there's probably some dumb kids dumb like high schoolers even out there who are like, oh, dolphins are fish, right? They probably have gills. They can just like breathe in water.
I don't know. I feel like kindergartners know how.
Well, but even though, like,
know that dolphins are mammals.
The audacity to just throw a living, thinking, breathing person into a tank and just be like, I think that this is what's best for them is so bullshit. So bullshit.
Well, like, that was part of the point of that, I guess, though, is that, like, they see these beastmen as, like, subhuman. And so they are treating them like total shit, like entertainment. And so, yeah, that is what like changes that
we're
girl's
get
mind.
to it, but she goes, her defensive statement was, but she's a dolphin. Well, you don't know how dolphins fucking work, apparently. All right.
It's such an ignorant thing to say. Yeah.
All right, we'll get to it.
Okay, so Mitru starts off the episode concentrating real hard, and she does like a backflip to try to transform back into a human, and it does not work at all. She then gets called over to the city hall, where she receives like a certificate of residency for Anima City, and an insurance card also, since she's now an official resident. We find out that the internet access is somewhat restricted for Beastmen, as Mitru... What?
Somewhat? No, it's completely restricted.
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me of, like, Chinese internet censorship, but, like, maybe even more extreme, because, like, it redirects, like, everything to the City Hall website, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, that's insane. And so, Mayor Barbara, she goes into this deep dive on Beastman genetics. So we learn that beastmen are genetically different from humans because they have different DNA. They don't have human DNA, they have bee DNA, like beast DNA or whatever. And their ancestors tried to model themselves after like the deities that were like beastly deities. Like, and so the beastmen of today are descendants of those types of beastmen.
Well, like some of the examples they used was like the Egyptian god with the dog head.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's Osiris or what, I forget, but yeah,
I think it's
that's
Osiris.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, like all those, or like Greek deities and stuff. I don't know, like all sorts of like animal deities. Yeah, but then they make this big thing of like, in terms of crossbreeding though. Say you had like a lion breeding with a tiger, you would not get a liger, like a mix. You would never get that. You would either get a tiger or a lion as a child. And so that's why Michiru is also so weird, because like, I guess, I don't know, like it's impossible for a human who lacks BDNA to turn into a beastman, and she doesn't have BDNA. And so that's super weird. They like analyzed her blood, and they tell her cells undergo this like explosive mitosis whenever she changes form. So she's super weird. She's like a science experiment.
Super weird.
Yeah, in general. So Mary the mink finds Michiru outside City Hall and is like, "Hey, I got a cracked cell phone that can get outside of like the censorship of the internet." And Michiru asks her, like, "Can you put this on Shiro's tab or something?" And she's like, "Okay, fine." And meanwhile, Flip, the mobster dude, is cracking down on Kusakabe for screwing up last episode. And Shiro comes to try to interrupt because he has questions to ask Kusakabe about like all what happened. And Flip is having none of that. He's got like a rope tied to this chair that Kusakabe's like sitting in, tied to. And he like lassos it around like a speedboat that's going by, and it like drags Kusakabe into the water, and then you just see like a cloud of blood because it kills him somehow. Like that was very unclear. Like, how did he die?
No. He lassoed the fucking propeller, so the propeller pulled the rope in.
Oh, so that's what that was supposed to be.
That's
I was like,
what that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
There was like no. I feel like there was no corresponding sound effect. It reminds me of like, it reminds me of an old Adams. There's an Adam Sandler DVD that came out, or not DVD, sorry, CD that came out like of like a bunch of skits that he did a long time ago. And there's this one skit in there where he's playing this guy that like throws his friend into like the propeller of his speedboat. And his friend just makes the most fucking ridiculous screaming noises as he's getting chopped up. So I expected something like that, you know, like something realistic. But I didn't hear that. So I was like, oh, how did he die? So yeah, Michiru logs into Facebook with her new phone. She sees a bunch of birthday messages from her human friends. And she notices a girl live streaming some makeup tutorial.
One of those messages is even her mom with a birthday cake.
I know.
Like kind of
she has to like look and see if she's gonna favorite it, and I'm almost like, don't, because then your mom's gonna be like, "Where are you out there?" Like,
yeah, that was like right at the very end of the episode where she was like, if she was gonna click to favorite her mom's message, and that was pretty sad. Like, but then I asked myself, like, does her mom know that she's like alive? What does her mom think is happening with Michiru?
I think Michiru just disappeared one day. So
yeah,
that's what I assumed too, is that they don't know where she is.
Yeah.
Or if she is alive, you know? So
I guess her mom's probably holding out hope with this like birthday message, I guess, that she's okay.
Right.
Weird. So so she notices this girl live streaming and sees that it's like near a statue that she's sitting right next to. She goes up to this girl and she's like, "Oh my god, it's another human living in the city." And she gets knocked out by somebody for approaching this girl. And when she wakes up, she's being scolded by this bodyguard for like approaching the daughter of the family, which is like the gang from last episode. It's the gang that Flip is the head of also. We find out later Flip is this girl's dad.
And Flip is a shark, which immediately, because of what we learned this episode, my brain goes, he fucked a dolphin.
Yes. Hey, I mean, dolphins are supposed to be really good at sex. I guess he's just met her mom and was like, oh, yeah, she's fucking hot.
It's a match made in heaven. She had nice flippers, you know. You
Oh, yeah.
can't knock it. So yeah, this girl's name is Nina, and she is actually a Beastman dolphin, like we said, and she is obsessed with humans and human culture, though. Like, she even pretends to be a human online, like, all the time. And so she has this box of, like, little human-related collectibles of things that have, like, washed up on the beach or she's found, like... And one of them is just, like, one earbud
Which is
headphone.
so funny, because that's, like, probably stupid stuff we've all done, like, collected little Japanese trinkets or just, like, fucking... pointless to Japanese people, but we're like, we covet them.
I literally am holding a 1 yen coin in my hand right now.
See? That's my point. That's like really relatable.
Yep, exactly. Oh, that's funny. And so, yeah, because she sees the earbud headphone, Mitru flashes back, and she's like listening to the ED from the show with her friend Nazuna, who we found out about like previous episode.
She's like a rabbit thing, isn't she?
Well, yeah, we haven't seen her transform yet, but like in the pictures for the show art, like I've seen her as a rabbit. So
no,
actually, we did see her.
We have seen her as a rabbit. Yes.
Yeah, very briefly we saw. Yeah, because we found out she's a beast man as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nina like asks Mitro if she wants to go back to the human world. And Mitru's like, well, I can't go back looking like this. She, like, clenches her fist like Arthur. She's like, I want to go back. And somehow, this actually transforms her back into human form. I guess this, like, her feelings were strong enough, finally, to get through. And I like the celebration she does, like... Especially the part where she starts putting on, like, different hats that she wants to wear. And she's like, she briefly, for 1 second, throws on the Little Witch Academia hat. And I was like, yes!
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's awesome.
Oh, you should go back. It's great. Yeah, it's just like a split second.
Yeah.
And now that Michiru can return to human society, Nina's like, let's go to a party. My friend Lisa is throwing a party, like, across the way, across the water. So, yeah, and then we find out, like, Flip is her dad, because he comes home and he's like, where's Nina?
And he's such a doting father too.
Oh yeah, he dotes all over. Yeah.
He has like bunches of presents in his arms. He's just like, oh, I brought you the world, my lovely daughter. Where are you?
Yeah, because we found out earlier she was upset with him, and it like bothers him really badly.
Yeah, I think she says like, I hate my dad. Like, yeah, she does not like him at all. And I guess that probably has something to do with him hating humans. She loves humans, so she's rebelling against him, I suppose.
Yeah.
So at the party, Lisa finds Nina, and it's like their first time meeting in real life. I guess they've only communicated through online before. And Nina is like does a flip because she's so happy and accidentally turns into her dolphin form because she's so excited. But luckily, like the people who are at this Beastman masquerade party, they seem to be like the flip side of Nina. Like they're as interested in Beastman as she is in humans,
well,
basically.
Especially Lisa, because she's like Lisa's like worried about like the plight that they're going through and all that shit, and like how tough it's been for them and stuff like that. So
I don't know. I think they're both worried, just as worried about each other. But when you're not part, as we find out, when you're not part of a society, it's hard to understand them totally, and it's easy to sort of have a false idea of them or a very surface idea of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's going on. It kind of goes
hand in hand, like the fear of the unknown, but also the curiosity about it at the same time. Yeah.
I actually don't think these people are evil or anything. I just think that they don't understand a lot about Beastmen, and they're a little bit ignorant about it. And it's hard to know a lot about what you aren't. So
that's true. Yeah, you have to live with those people. You have to talk with them. You have to get to know them.
And that's a lot of bigotry for anything.
Yeah,
it's just like
exactly
ignorance of it. Yeah.
So Lisa brings Nina up on stage and like presents her as like the big Beastman guest, and the crowd like cheers her. And Lisa talks about like all the pain and suffering that Nina must have experienced because of discrimination. And Nina's like, not really. Like she's kind of like sheltered probably. Like she probably hasn't faced much discrimination. Like living with Flip basically, who probably has protected her.
Well, then it's really interesting because then she just starts doing a whole bunch of tricks like if you'd gone to a zoo and watched a dolphin show.
Yeah, that was the weird part. Like that's where it got pretty uncomfortable. Like at the party when she's like doing tricks in the pool and everybody's sort of like cheering her on. And like before that, like Mayor Barbara has spotted her on social media, and seen like that Mitru is with her and like calls Shiro and is like, you need to go get them before Flip like finds out about this and goes there and like starts a war with the humans. And like, so Shiro like heads him off and is like, hey, let me take care of this. It's like, if you don't let me take care of this, I'm going to fight you right here. And he's like, all right, you have until midnight to take care of this, basically. Because like, yeah, it looks like Flip is just looking for any excuse. And his daughter being over there is a good one. Yeah. And so, yeah, like I said, the party's starting to feel weird. Like, there's this one scene where like Mitru goes to the bathroom and like two girls wander in and they start talking about how like Nina is cool but also kind of scary and how they could never actually live with beastmen. And then that's when you're like, oh, these people are fake. Like they view her as an object of like interest. They don't view her as a person, which is sad. And yeah, Shiro calls Mitru at that point. It's like, you need to bring Nina to the harbor by any means necessary before Flip like starts a war. Yeah,
before Flip flips. Yes.
Yeah.
Before Flip flips.
And so Lisa like thought Nina was like looking tired, so she threw that was her explanation for why she threw her into a seawater tank.
Yeah,
but she thought that she was looking tired.
You look tired, so I'm not going to ask you if you need anything. I'm just going to assume that this is best for you and violently do it without asking you. Like,
and not know that fucking dolphins breathe air because your defensive statement is because she's a dolphin, she'll be fine, right? You dumb fucking bitch.
Yeah.
It's like pretty disturbing. And she like starts like suffocating and trying to get out. And Mitru has to transform, like she transforms her arm into like Popeye the Sailor Man or something.
That's pretty apt. Yeah.
And just punches the tank and it cracks open and she comes like spilling out. And like they just walk out of the party while everybody kind of like stares at them, kind of stunned about what happened. And Nina, they get on the speedboat with Shiro and they're on their way back to Anima City. And Nina's like, I don't regret visiting the humans. Like, it was cool. Like, it was like sparkly and fun like I expected. So like there could be something there. Like, I'm not like totally wrong to like what I thought I liked about them. And yeah, and she's like, Mitru, don't worry, you shouldn't have stopped me. You couldn't have stopped me.
Yeah, so. I liked that she didn't come away from this so negative about it.
Yeah, it's not like a binary, like, oh, I just hate all humans now. Though, like, I would have understood if she came away, like, thinking that too, but she's a little bit more reasonable. And yeah, Mitru decides for herself, like, I don't want to go back to the human world yet. Like, I think I owe it to myself to learn about beastmen now and try to solve these, like, problems. Like, because obviously there's a divide here that needs to be patched up.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and finally, like, the Sylvester president, he's taken an interest in Mitru and Shiro. We see at the end, because he's, like, seen the pictures of them online. And, yeah, like we said before, like, Mitru saw that post on Facebook from her mom with the birthday cake. And, like, hovers her finger over liking it, but then decides not to.
Yeah.
Because she's not ready to go home yet, I guess, so, yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting episode, like, just exploring just, like, discrimination, like learning more about like how the Beastmen came to be, like genetically, and like what that is all about, and how Mitru differs from that, which is interesting. Which I definitely think continues to feed into my theory that like the weird dudes at Sylvasta were like experimenting on her or whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think it might have been they were trying to teach humans, you know, more about beastmen by making them like beastmen or something, maybe. I mean, I guess I should expect a good anime from Studio Trigger. They usually hit it on the head, so they're doing a good job with it.
It's
sure,
aliens with coins that can grant you powers and transform you into monsters.
If only you give them your pubic hair.
Gleipnir and Villainess are just related. They're the same anime.
This is the same universe.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. BNA is the Saturday morning cartoon version of Gleipnir.
Yes.
Oh, man. All right. Any other thoughts on that episode?
No, I'm enjoying the series as a whole. It's not. I was not excited about it at first because I was like, oh, another like human animal thing. We already had one of these recently, but it's its own thing for sure.
I did that too, but then I saw it was Trigger, and I'm like, all right, they're going to do something weird, so
Yeah.
let's watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that winds us down for this podcast. Thank you all for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube. You can get updates there on our new podcast or videos. You can also find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. And follow us over on Twitter at Nerdom and Other for updates as well. Nerdom with 1D. Somebody asked me recently. It's like, is it 2Ds or 1D? And it's like, yeah, it's 1D. Come hang out on our Discord. We always are chatting there about everything that's going on, including some of the shows that we've been catching up on, like Kakushigoto and Arte and stuff. So I'll be putting some thoughts about Arte in the Discord probably right after this. But yeah, with all that, we will see you next time.
Later.
Yep. Bye.
See ya.